procedures. So this would give you the flexibility, and you still retain all your rights without having this out there that somebody reads it and just says, oh, I can go to the board on that. A student can go to the board if a student has a complaint.
The difficulty I had was in one policy where they're very succinct and concise, and this is the way it is. And I go to another policy and it's 5 pages long. And I go to another policy and we're taking out part of the, so I'm just trying to get a consistent document for each of the pieces. I don't care if it's in there or not, because we have to have an appeal process. That's part of the law, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't it?
Wait,
Well, certain things don't get appealed, for instance, like grade challenges. I mean, not everything gets appealed all the way through and up to the board. And this makes it sound as if every decision that's ever made winds up getting appealed to the board, or could potentially get appealed to the board.
I just don't want to lose the fact that folks have a right to appeal to the board.
we have had grade challenges come to the board.
We shouldn't.
The
Yes.
handicapped individual.
Oh, that was an OCR complaint.
Yeah, but, I mean, it was basically a grade challenge.
Yeah, but you didn't sit.
I mean, I'm happy to forward all of them.
Yeah, right.
To the board because
If you want
I
to
got some
institute
free
this, I
time.
was going to say, they all march into the president's office first, and then we send them.
I mean, that's good.
It was a good garden variety.
Yes, but if it doesn't come to us, I understand, that's good, but, okay.
Okay.
Does the statute have specific language in it regarding an appeal
I'd have to take a
process?
look at it.
Because
Well,
in
well,
that
this-
instance, you could just say that you'd follow the parameters of the statute if there was an appeal.
Because I would suspect even through HR, we have some type of a written document that spells out the procedures for an appeal to come to the
Sure.
board, right?
Yeah. So you'd still have people coming to you, and you still have that. That's through HR procedures.
And we do have policy for example, addressing academic concerns policy. It stops with my position.
Mhm.
So it goes from the faculty member to the dean to the vice president, and then it's done. We
Did you
don't-
get demoted?
I'm sorry, to provost.
There you have it.
Is that current language, provost?
Do we have to
No,
change
so
the
we
policy
probably
if
gotta
we
do
change
that.
your time?
Yeah,
To change those policies.
work on that this summer.
Yeah, they'll give me-
You know.
since I'm gonna send all the great appeals here.
You have
I'll
plenty of time.
Don't worry about
You have
it.
a lot of time, since we'll be having special meetings for appeals.
You know, it never dawned on me to appeal a grade, never.
It's incredibly common today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
We've got an entitlement
Would you want to
generation
feel it
now.
upper or greater or lower?
Yeah, probably lower. I
And it's
did what?
usually when they're Bs.
They want an A.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm
moving
getting
on.
off topic.
Thank you, Barb.
I was okay with 107 and 108. 109 talks about insurance that we as trustees have. Since this is board insurance, I know that we also have accidental death and some other kind of insurance for each board member. And that should be in here.
Is that where if you're traveling, is it sort of like a travel,
Yeah.
is there something?
Yeah. So that should be in there.
Is that?
What's the policy pay?
50 grand, I think, if you quote for the,
100?
yeah, 100, I
Is that
don't know, something.
Oh, yeah.
I know we have it, because I listed a
And that's
beneficiary.
encouraged during execution of board business.
Okay, you guys can work this out later. Under 110, under the electronic communication, the very first sentence, electronic communication between administrators and the board. I guess I would like to see that not say administrators, because that just limits it to a category of folks. I would say electronic communication between College of Lake County personnel, because it should be all encompassing. It shouldn't just be
Employees.
administrators.
Between employee and, yeah, we can put employees in there.
Especially the provost.
Yeah.
That's it. Employees, including the provost.
You know, I gotta talk to Karen sometimes.
All right.
Okay, I'm done.
Good.
All right, you'll get to see these some more. Any other questions?
And that's because of the three missing characters tonight.
Well, you would get to see them in a first reading next week anyway, but that will give everybody a chance. And you know, let me ask the board this. You know, there's not, unlike personnel policies that we're trying to get through and institute, if you like, I can start, you know, Derek can start bringing this back in June, for instance, and for a first reading, and then July. There isn't kind of hurry, and you can add more time during forward. So we'll pace ourselves on a little bit, so, because we do need to get to the personnel. Okay, and we'll make these changes and explore other options.
So when are we gonna look at the rest of the 100s?
That's an ongoing process throughout the year, and I'll pace it out with the.
I mean, because we already got a bunch of revisions sent to us, so what are we doing with them?
Well, that's a great point. If you would like to go ahead and start giving feedback on the others, or send us your comments about.
Well, I have difficulty when we do this on an individual basis, because then we don't benefit from the discussion of the rest of the board
Okay.
members. And then we end up getting two,
Okay.
3 different copies and not knowing
Sure.
what got changed from where. You know, maybe we could take 10 minutes or something
Sure.
at a board meeting to just, you know, see where we're all coming from, so we're not sitting at the table after 3 or 4 revisions and now we're sending you back to the,
Okay.
we need to benefit from the rest of the discussion.
Originally, the plan was, when we sat down and talked with you, to take these 5 or 10 at a
Yeah.
time and just go through them as a group in batches.
So what we'll do, if that's what you'd like, we'll bring you these, we'll make kind of the revisions from what you said. We'll bring those in June for a first reading, July a second reading, but we'll go ahead and start you on the next 10.
Because do you realize the very first one we got was from October?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying,
Sure.
we should have a discussion before we keep going
Sure.
through a zillion, and we have to pay Bob an outrageous fee now to go back and
No.
fix all of this. Bob, what are we doing here?
Actually, it's.
We're
Rachel.
overpaying Bob.
Who does,
Rachel.
Rachel. Rachel. Okay.
Oh, we don't get the front line anymore.
All right.
Okay.
Moving
that's-
along, we have a discussion on the bill approval process item here. And so we've talked about the bill approval process. I guess the first thing, you have a history there where we've kind of summarized it for you. What I'm understanding from the input that board members have been giving me is that, and I want to check this out tonight, and if we have to check it out next week when we have all 7 here, but you're okay with the current process. So just to summarize again, in November, you had that policy where you would review and approve all the bills, all the way from $5 on up. We changed that based on your feedback in January and February and came up with a new policy that still says you review all the bills. You see all the bills and review them, but you approve those over 5,000, and then you approve or ratify those under 5,000. Okay, in some cases you're ratifying some of those depending on the timing they come in. So it seems to me as I've talked to you, you're okay with that process. Your concerns are wanting to see the information, and I want to, I think.
How about if I just say the way?
Yeah, go ahead, yeah, go ahead.
Because our bills are so voluminous, and it would be helpful for me if I were able to just sort the bills electronically, so that if I wanted to see all of the board's expenses, I could sort it that way. Or if I wanted to see all of academic affairs, I could sort it that way and look at it. Or if I wanted to look at just all of the travel, or whatever the sort happens to be. I can't imagine that you guys don't already have access to be able to do that. I mean, you gotta be able to sort it however you want, right? That's what I've been asking for 2 years.
So was there a way to let her into that?
Well, that's what, and that was the other suggestion I made, and again, I made it for the last 2 years. Just set up a portal on the CLC website that would be password protected, so that each one of us could have access to it. And we can just go in and view it and sort it and do whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, come on,
And
it's,
then you wouldn't have to
It's-
print all them for each one of us?
well, that's the other piece. You wouldn't
No, you
have to,
wouldn't.
because if you've done your due diligence, which you all know I do, I would have gone in there and looked at whatever, if I just wanted to look at the bills that were over 20,000, I could do that without having to go through a book like this. Just the ability to sort it, just like probably any administrator has the
Well,
ability.
then what's the administration's response to that?
We totally
Well, I
agree
don't
with
know, I've
that.
been asking for it
No, no, no,
for 2
I
years
agree.
I don't
now.
think you're listening to Jerry.
Yeah.
Like he listens? Go ahead.
We totally agree with that. I don't have any problem with that. Just recall, the portal is there, we set up the portal, and no one wanted to come in for training on it and get working on it.
It's our
So it
fault.
kind of, it never went anywhere, as it were. Plus, I think some folks lost interest in the portal because, remember, you had requested those trustee emails, and then I think when the council told you, you can get your emails FOIA'd anyway, et cetera, people lost interest and nobody ever used their trustee emails. For a while, we were sending it to trustee.anderson and whatever, and everybody just used their usual email addresses. So that all died off. But that being said, we don't need to use a portal. We can just send you the Excel sheet.
Well,
We'll have it set up.
Yeah, but then how do you sort it? If you send
Well,
it
the
in an
portal is-
Excel file, you're not gonna be able to do the sorting
And,
that Bart's talking
and let me go
about.
back to your comment on nobody used it. It was never set up as a portal. It was set up, you're giving me an iPad or something and you wanted to set up. All I want to be able to do is go in on my home computer, go into the CLC website, and in fact, the faculty, I think, have their own place that they can go, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, that's immaterial. Going to the CLC website, and I can sign in, I've got a password and it's protected, and I can go over, because you will have put stuff in this place for the Board of Trustees, one which would be the bills.
Well, what is the status of the portal? Is it operating?
The
Rick,
portal
do you
is
have a
still,
portal that you go into every night and check things out?
It's called Blackboard, right?
I can go to the intranet, I can go to my U-Drive where I have personal stuff, I can go to,
Do we have a
Peoplesoft
program that'll
or-
allow this kind of sorting to be able to do this?
I
and
don't
look at
have
stuff?
access to
The
that.
portal is simply, it's like an Outlook. It's
No,
like
I
a-
understand, but do we have the software program
Right now,
that
we-
finance department would have that would allow things to be sorted?
Yeah, we actually post an Excel spreadsheet on the public website at the end of every week of what we pay, and that can be sorted. What I could do to facilitate that is to make sure it's all gets consolidated at a certain point in the month, and it's still available publicly without even having to go through password protection. And then as long as you have Excel on your computer, you'd be able to do the data sorting.
Yes, it's out there already, and it's a little hard. I think I communicated that a little bit, but we'll send you a link to it. We can do that, and then we can fiddle around with how you want, so you can, if you're having issues with sorting it any sort of way. And I think David's right. It's kind of the same thing I'm saying. We should just send you the Excel spreadsheet. That's what we're using, is the Excel spreadsheet. You don't need a portal for that, but we can also create a portal, but,
Well, it's public knowledge anyway.
Why send it to us? Just have it wherever you have it.
Yeah,
Tell us
it's
how
on
to
the
sort it,
website.
how to sort it, and then those that want to go to it.
Sure.
And then for the rest of us, do it the way we used to do it, with you and your sidekick signing off
Yeah, I
on
don't
it.
know that I want all that data taking up memory on
I
my
don't
computer.
either.
Right, and the other thing, again, if we utilize a special portal where you guys could just put stuff that we as trustees can access. Like all of these policies, do you realize how many trees we killed with all of this stuff?
I was in Mariano's the other day, and they were talking about paper waste in the bathroom.